want to say that this was a conversation that was birthed from two things. One, I was sitting by the fireplace with my uncle, and then we started talking about favoritism. Okay. Two, it's something that I really get a lot because I use public transport to go to work. So I really get it a lot in commutes, in cars where people are saying, my parent really favors this one because it's the breadwinner. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time it is that you're watching this, good day to you. My name is Dudu Esang, Dudu for short, and I would like to welcome you to one of my conversations. And today we're particularly going to be talking about families. So it's going to be everything families and the relationship within the family. But we're going to place a specific focus on favoritism within the family, particularly around siblings. I don't know if you've ever heard this thing of mommy's favorite, daddy's girl, daddy's favorite. And sometimes we say it in a joking manner where it's just, oh, she's daddy's favorite. But even though it is said in a joking manner, the impacts or the effects can really run deep, and they can have long-term effects. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. So if you're new to the channel, I want to give you the kindest, warmest of all welcomes. I really hope that you will find today's topic relevant to you in whatever way. You may be a parent, you may be a child who has been favored over the other people, or you may be the sibling who has seen other people being favored. And I really hope that in whatever role that you are, this conversation may be relevant to you, and that it can really open up a foundation for you to really tackle some of the issues if this has been a burning issue in your life. Okay, so what you can expect from today is I am going to firstly explain what it is or what favoritism in the family looks like. And then I'm also going to talk about the effects that it has on the different people who are affected by it. That is the individual or the individuals who are favored more than the other people, as well as the siblings who see other people being favored more than them. So that is what we're going to be doing today. Now, to begin, let me just briefly explain what it is. I usually try to come up with scenarios to explain what it is, and sometimes I may miss out on some other things. So my definition or my explanation is really not limited to only these. There could be other scenarios or other ways that people show favoritism within the family. But this is just for us to get a brief understanding of what it is. So if I were to begin to explain what favoritism looks like or to define it, I would say it's instances where a parent or parents, they consistently treat a child or other children differently from the other ones, where it could be that they're paying more attention to the one child than to the other. I've heard people saying that usually the firstborn or the lastborn is the favorite. It could be true, but with the first child, the parent is really trying to find their way in terms of parenting. And yes, they may have a lot of attachment to the child. And with the last child, it could be that they see that, I really made a lot of mistakes with my previous children that I don't want to do with this one. So maybe the parent then can become more lenient towards the last one. But it's not always that it's the first and the last. Maybe it can be the middle child or the middle children who are favored more than the other people. But it is consistently showing more attention to that child more than the other ones. Maybe you are buying them better, or a parent is buying them better clothes than the other ones. Maybe, a lot of times, especially in our African cultures, I have seen a lot of people, they would, praise the other children in front of the other children and not praise the other one. What I mean is, let's say that it's two siblings or three, whatever number. So a parent who praise, and then there's a visitor or there's someone, an outsider. and then the parent will praise in front of these two, the one child, and not really praise the other one. Hey, my child has done this, my child has done that. So that can also, really show favoritism. Remember, the term or the key term here is consistently so. So it's not a one-time thing, it's a regular thing, it's something that goes on for a lot of time, or all the times. It's like that. Where you really show that you are proud of the one child more than the other. And it can also be other examples which maybe I haven't mentioned, but that is what we can expect in terms of favoritism. Oh, and a very important one. Sometimes in families, we really have clear rules, whether those are said rules or those are written rules, where we say in our family, this is how we operate. But when it comes to favoritism with a child, the favored child, it's like the rules don't really apply to them. So this is whereby some of the rules that you have set as a family to say, no, we are not going to arrive at home at this time, or something so simple such as no one is going to sleep on my couches. You are all going to sit up straight, upright on my couches. No one is going to sleep. But when it comes to the favorite child can, put their legs on the sofas, on the couches. They can do whatever they want. Or something so simple as we don't switch TV on at this particular time, but when it's the favorite child who does it, then it's like, you sort of waver. It's like, no, it's fine, you can do it, just not you. So those are just different instances that favoritism can come across within a family. Now, what are the impacts or what are the effects? Some of the effects they really run deep. They really run deep. That is why we can even see instances of sibling rivalry. And some of them, they can be long term, where we now start to see the effects on the individual, where the individual the individual who was not favored may grow up to, have a low self-esteem. They may grow up to have a poor self-concept, where they don't believe in themselves, and so on. So I'm going to be discussing some of those effects. What I'll do is I will discuss the effects generally on the favored child and on the unfavored child. Okay. Now, on the favored child, I think it would be wrong of me to say that when a person is favored, this is how they're going to become. So that is why I choose to use the word may. In certain instances, it's not that it's always going to be the case that somebody who's favored will become the way that I'm saying. Okay, so a favored child may become, feel very superior to the other children, where, they can even break the rules, knowing that I know that, that it's going to be wavered with me. My parents are not going to follow up on the punishment because, hey, it's me. Okay, so they really get away with a lot of things, and sometimes that can really make the child could become irresponsible, where they really never really learned to take any responsibility, because they do know that the parent is going to stand up for them, and the punishment is really not going to stick, because they are the loved child. Okay, so the child may become so superior, they may feel superior than the others, and they may want to constantly break the rules because they know that the punishment is not going to apply to them. And unfortunately, it can make a child to become irresponsible. But as everyone has a character, some people who have been the favored child can grow up to, to be upstanding members of the community, to really be responsible people who don't want the same thing to happen with them, because they can see. I can promise you that somebody who is favored can see the effects that it has on the other children. Sometimes the favored child may feel that, what, mother or father, I really don't like that you are favoring me more than the other people. It's like you love me more, and I don't want it to be visible. So sometimes they may shy away from the favor that they see being placed in their lives. Okay, so I can imagine there's other things that they can turn out that I didn't mention. And then with the unfavored child, some of the effects would be that it can really create a spirit of inferiority, where they feel that they are not loved, where they feel that the other one is more important than them. And the truth is, it can really create a lot of envy and a lot of hatred, especially towards the favored child. Where, even when the favored child hasn't done anything, it's like they feel they need to fight with that child because they keep wondering, but what is so different about you that is different from me? I mean, you look the same to me. How come my mother loves you or my father loves you more than you love me? So it can really create a lot of envy and a lot of hatred towards the one who is favored. And that can cause a lot of strife, a lot of conflict within the siblings because they may then start fighting. And unfortunately, if you are the favored child, it really exposes you to a lot of hate because people can just hate you out of nowhere. Where people can just argue with you for no reason because you are the favored child. It's like, they purposefully provoke you because they want to see if the parent is going to stand up for you or not. So at the end of the day, this thing of favor, it doesn't benefit. Overall, it doesn't benefit anyone. It may temporarily benefit people, but at the end of the day, it's really creating a rift and it's really creating a distance within families. So if you are the favored child, sometimes it's quite important, to call out the behavior and say, mother, I really think that it's quite unfair that you are treating me like this. Or to even you yourself, if you've been trying to get away with the rules not applying to you, to actually say, what, these rules, I've seen that they're not applying to me, but I'm making a conscious decision that I'm going to abide to them either way. Okay, now back to the unfavored child. So I was saying that it can really create that sense of inferiority, and it can create that hatred and that envy towards their favored child. And the other thing that is really quite important is that it will make it can make the child even hate their parent, where they're going to see, I mean, it really creates that spirit of comparison where the child will compare themselves to the other siblings, and it will make the child hate their parent, and it can cause a lot of strife, a lot of conflicts between the parent and that sibling, because sometimes some of the unfavored children, they want to call out the behavior and they want to say, but mom, but dad, why is it that you don't love me as much as my siblings? So sometimes they do want to call out that behavior, and it's quite unfortunate that if a parent is really not reflective and not understanding, or doesn't even see that what this effect is, then it can cause a lot of tension between that parent and the child. And then the other thing that it sadly does is that some of them can really grow up to not believe in themselves, where they don't also want to take responsibility. They sort of feel like, what, it's because of my mother that I'm this way. My mother doesn't believe in me. My father doesn't believe in me. So it's because of that nothing is coming out of my life. I can't really make anything out of my life because my parents, they don't support me, because my parents don't really believe in me. So the child can really use that, unfortunately, against themselves, instead of really encouraging them to say, I'm really going to prove that I'm worth it. And one of the things that is so sad, which I just thought of now, I didn't think I'm going to include it, is it's so sad that sometimes, parents don't understand that, okay, not really, they don't understand. They try to justify that, no, it's because my child that I favor does 1, 2, 3 for me. This one, I don't favor them because they are not following up to my rules, or they've done this 1, 2, 3. That is why it's like I'm showing more favor to this one. This one has been consistently been able to follow, or they really resemble. Sometimes I think, to be honest, sometimes parents have what they consider not really favorites, but they really have preferences of how they want their children to be. Maybe they want them to be warmer, to be that child who hugs them, who checks on them. And unfortunately, you may have so many children and all of them so different. And we can't expect them to be all the same because they're different in their ways. So sometimes a parent will favor a child because their character is really a preference to them, without really saying that, even though your character is and not a preference to me, I really want to develop the best possible strengths within you so that you can really become someone that I am proud of and that you are proud of yourself. So it's quite unfortunate that some of the small things within families can really create so much damage to a person, and I can imagine that is why we see some of the conflicts within families, where we hear that people are not speaking to each other for years, where we hear that, someone died and then suddenly it's like the entire family says, no, I'm taking my stuff, I'm leaving you guys. And it is affecting, yes, the immediate people, but it's also affecting the generations to come. And where you can hear stuff like, oh, there's a sibling of yours that moved to a certain country or a certain town, and you don't even know any of the grandchildren, or you don't even know any of the children, because of such small things. So I ended up moving away from my topic, but I guess it's something that came into my mind as I was speaking. So those are just some of the effects that we can expect to see. Today's video wasn't really about, no, don't do that. It was really to, I really want my videos to create an awareness of some of the things that we don't think are necessarily a no or bad things, but I really want us to open our minds to say, actually, you know what, I didn't realize that this isn't a good thing. Maybe I can change it. How can I change it? So my videos are really to create that awareness of the effects that little things can happen. But I want to say that this was a conversation that was birthed from two things. One, I was sitting by the fireplace with my uncle, and then we started talking about favoritism. Okay. Two, it's something that I really get a lot because I use public transport to go to work. So I really get it a lot in communities, in cars, where people are saying, my parent really favors this one because it's the breadwinner. And they make me work and do everything because I don't work. So it's like this one is the queen or the princess, the king. They shouldn't touch anything while we are the ones who are doing the hard work. So I suppose that if you took any role, there are different roles here. It could be the parent who's favoring, it could be the favorite child, it could be the unfavored child. If you take any of these roles, the responsibility is now up to you to say, hey, I now realize that this is the effect that this has had on me. This is the effect that it has had on other people around me. What do I do? So that was the whole intention of my video, to say, I think, this affects me. It may not be me who is the unfavored or the favored, but it really affects the people around me, and I can see this is the effect that it has on my family. What do I do? Okay, and what you do is up to you. You can sit with it, or you can really, do whatever it is that you need to do. Okay, so I want to thank you for coming to watch this video with me. I really hope that, as I said, it is relevant to you and that it is helpful to you. So remember, my videos are out every Monday at 7 p.m. I am sorry about the previous video, which I'll link up, by the way. I don't believe most people watched it, but I'll relink it. It came out later than my usual time, and that was because I needed rest. I was quite overwhelmed, hence the video on rest, on how to rest. Okay, so I'll see you next week at 7 p.m. on Monday. If my video is not out, do check me on my Instagram, where sometimes where if a video is not out, then I make the announcement on my Instagram at Keseho Matote. Yes, Keseho Matote. It's linked up in my channel. Okay. So thank you and bye. Have a lovely day.